Und damit kommen wir auch schon zum zweiten Vortrag. Und ich freue mich sehr, dass wir heute auch zum ersten Mal eine internationale Speakerin dabei haben, nämlich die Jessica Gioglio, die gestern extra aus London eingeflogen ist und bis morgen noch in München bleibt. Genau. Und für Sprinklr arbeitet und auch ein ganz spannendes Buch geschrieben hat und uns etwas über Remarkable Customer Experiences erzählt. Und dazu spricht sie am besten selbst.
Great. Well, thank you for that introduction, Daniel. I have to be honest, I don't speak any German, so you're going to have to put up with me giving this talk in English, because I think the German equivalent probably wouldn't be very pretty. So as Daniel mentioned, my name's Jessica Gioglio. I live in London, but I'm American. I moved to London in January of this year to work for Sprinklr. I head up our content lab, which means that I run a creative services team. We develop content for Sprinklr's clients, so we do social media and digital content, images, videos, social media campaigns, kind of runs the whole gamut. And Sprinklr, for those who are not familiar with Sprinklr, Sprinklr is the world's most complete social technology. And you might say, well, what does that mean? We work with large brands, over 1,000 global brands all around the world, to help them scale their social and digital efforts across multiple touch points. So my colleague Sebastian is here today if you have any questions. I don't know if you want to wave, but you can obviously ask me or ask him if you have any Sprinklr specific questions. Today I'm actually here to talk about, not about Sprinklr, but maybe I can't move very far. That's bad because I like to walk around. Today I'm actually here to talk to you about something that's really close to kind of my core specialty, which is content and creating remarkable customer experiences with content. So you might be wondering, why are customer experiences extremely important? Well, as you can see up here on the slide, 80% of companies think that they actually supply good customer experiences. But if you actually go and poll customers, 8% of customers actually think that they're getting a remarkable customer experience from a company. So there's clearly a perception gap between what companies think that they're delivering and what customers think that they're getting. And this research actually comes from Bain & Company, so it's quite a good source. And why this is important is research from Gartner shows that by 2016, 89% of companies are going to be competing mostly on customer experience. So 2016 is actually next year. So no pressure, but I think if there's ever been a time to focus on how you can be creating, positive experiences for your customers, now is the time. And if that research doesn't sway you, I have only one more stat that I hope will. Research from CEI showcases that 86% of customers are actually willing to pay more for a better customer experience. So that's kind of your potential return on investment there. And I think if there's ever a time to invest in experiences, it's now. So my goal today is to walk you through how you can do that with content. So I think often companies, when they think about creating great experiences for their customers, they think about big campaigns, big initiatives, and we as social media and digital professionals, we have an opportunity each and every day to create amazing experiences for our customers. And if you think about it, content is probably the easiest way to do it, because on all of our channels, we're probably publishing almost every day or having one-to-one conversations every day. So why don't we look at the content that we're producing, make it work a bit harder for us, and actually see if we can actually deliver better experiences through our social media and digital channels. So I'm going to share with you a few companies that I think are doing a good job of this and a few campaign examples. So the first one is kind of near and dear to my heart. I used to head up social media for Dunkin' Donuts globally before I joined Sprinklr. So I was based in Boston, Massachusetts, and I was with them for over 4 years. Really built their social media efforts from the ground floor up. Now they have markets all over the world doing social media for them, which is quite an amazing accomplishment. So the first thing when I joined, I didn't really have a lot of team or budget or infrastructure, and I was a bit nervous on how I was supposed to be creating so much great content and be present all the time and have customer service. So the first thing I did with Dunkin' is I spent a lot of time listening. I wanted to get to know who our customers were, what their pain points were, what social media channels they reached out to us on, because at the time we were only on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And then I also needed to solve the problem of my brand team gave me this content calendar that was massive with all of the products they wanted me to be posting about every month. And it seemed like a lot of company-focused news, whereas we all know with customers, they tend to not always think that way. It's more about what they care about. So I took a bit of a daring approach and said to the company, why don't we take a different strategy with social media? What if we say we don't own our social media channels, our fans do? And what if we think about how we can restructure all of the content that we're doing to be based on customer insights? So let's do a lot of social listening about existing products, try and predict how customers are going to react to new products. And instead of just mining text conversations, we also mined photos. So the pictures that you see behind me on the screen are all images that Dunkin' Donuts customers took and shared with us. So you can see, like, there's a saying that says, a photo is worth 1,000 words, and I think it's true with social media and user-generated content, where if you look at these images, they're all of a very similar style. They speak to occasions when people might enjoy coffee, like driving to work, on their desk, walking on the beach on holiday. So these were occasions and inspiration for us as we were approaching our strategy. And ultimately, it also gave me ammunition. I don't know if you've ever been in a position where someone within your company says, I don't care, just get this up on Facebook. I don't know if anyone's ever heard that. I have. So when a brand manager would come to me and say, I need like 20 posts on iced tea, I could say, well, here's the customer insights, and here's what channels they should go on, and here's how we should be approaching, talking about iced tea versus donuts versus coffee. So that worked quite well for us. And in terms of how this looked with campaigns, we realized that by doing a ton of social listening, we realized we had amazingly passionate advocates, as well as influencers, but advocates were really, it was amazing to see their conversations. So the difference between an influencer and an advocate is an influencer is like a blogger, a thought leader, someone that has a very big social media audience, and an advocate is someone who just loves your brand. For example, they might go to Dunkin' Donuts several times a week or every day if we're that lucky, and they just rave about your brand. So we really took a strategy of trying to target advocates and surprise and delight them. So it was we did a kind of a test campaign where we said if we send hand-wrapped care packages with a Dunkin' Donuts t-shirt or a Dunkin' Donuts coffee mug or a gift card, and we really made them personalized to what each user enjoyed about Dunkin' Donuts. And we hand wrote notes and send them out in the mail. And as you can see here, we actually got some really great feedback. So we found that 9 times out of 10, the customer would actually take a picture and post it on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, and they would say, wow, I can't believe Dunkin' Donuts did this for me just by being a fan. So when you think about how you can create remarkable customer experiences with content, for us, it was actually kind of the user's owned content, their word of mouth endorsement of Dunkin' Donuts that was helping us to kind of spread this mission, and we wouldn't have gotten that if we weren't listening to our customers. One other example of how we created a good experience with content is this example here, and I'm hoping this video works. Okay, Daniel's going to help me. So we had a customer tweet us that he proposed to his girlfriend inside a Dunkin' Donuts restaurant. So you're probably getting it now because you're seeing the video on the screen. So that's a pretty big deal. It doesn't happen every day for us. So when we saw that tweet, we wanted to do something extra special. So we put together the Vine video that you just saw reenacting the proposal, and we sent out a tweet to our entire audience saying, congratulations. We tagged the user, and we encourage everyone to celebrate them and congratulate them. So they got quite a few tweets, and we sent them a care package as well in the mail, and really kind of made a big celebration out of it. And those are kind of those moments that if you're not listening and engaging with your customers, you wouldn't be able to tell those kind of stories. And instead of just posting about we have great coffee or we have great donuts, actually celebrating something that's more related to the users actually perform better than some of the other brand content we have been doing. So the next example I wanted to share is to use visuals to make your content and your one-to-one responses more memorable. So you kind of got a teaser with that with some of the Dunkin' Donuts examples that we did, but I want to go a bit deeper than Dunkin' and share other company examples. So the first one I wanted to share here is, so there's an interesting reason why visuals are important. So I wrote a book called The Power of Visual Storytelling, and we did so much research when we were working on this book, because if you think about it, like from when I started at Dunkin' Donuts, we were on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And our Facebook posts were probably like this long, like I'm not joking, and not even all of them had pictures when I first started. And as I worked for Dunkin' Donuts for 4 years, we actually started to think less about the text and more about the image. And then channels like Vine and Instagram and Snapchat and Pinterest came out. So we realized we're in the middle of a visual revolution, and that's what really inspired the book that we wrote. So in the research, I found that there's actually a good reason why social media networks have become more visual. Visuals are actually processed 60,000 times faster than text alone is. So think about it. When you're scrolling through Facebook or you're on Instagram, like you're just focused on the pictures, and you hope a really amazing image, you latch on to that, and it really pulls you in to read the message. So if you look at the picture behind me, it's from KLM. They posted it on LinkedIn. And why I thought this was amazing is you don't have to read the copy to know what this image is about. It really communicates the point very efficiently. But the goal that brands are having is, because they know it takes between 2.8 and 8 seconds is the average attention span on social media today, brands are using great images that are really related to the point that they want to bring across to really pull the reader in, have them read the text, and then complete the desired action. So in this post, the desired action is leaving a comment, but it might be clicking on a link or asking someone to share a piece of content. So when you're thinking about how you can create amazing customer experiences with content, you really need to focus on what's the right visual that's really going to pull the customer in to even have that experience. And actually, I should make the point too, a pet peeve of mine on LinkedIn is when brands just only use like stock photography that's really basic. So I think what was really great about this KLM image too is in LinkedIn, where there's a lot of stock imagery, this image, because it was branded and really personalized, really stood out as well. So I like to say the magic is in the visual mix. So when you think about what's the best visual to kind of help create a great experience for your customers, there's so many amazing ones out there. And I'm kind of a creative at heart, so I think this is like my happy place. But you can use images, you can use videos. There's both long form and short form videos, which are great if you need to communicate product features. You also have GIFs, memes, and then cinemagraphs. So the image on the screen behind me is actually a cinemagraph, and if you haven't seen those yet, it's actually an image and video overlaid, and you basically just have the designer cut out part of the image, so it's in motion, and you save it as a movie file, so it auto-plays in Facebook and Instagram. So it's quite a cool format. A lot of brands are using it now, and it's really, I think, over-indexing performance than kind of static images. And then you also have infographics, which are a great way to visualize data. And then other two I always like to call out that sometimes people forget are Slideshare. So Slideshare is actually owned by LinkedIn, and it shares seamlessly on LinkedIn. So especially if you're a business-to-business company, and you're kind of the amazing experience that you're creating for your customers, if you're business-to-business, is sharing kind of data, industry insights, thought leadership. So you can really use Slideshare and share that on LinkedIn in a way that is almost like a visual ebook, but a lot easier to make. And then the other one I like a lot is Storify. And if you do a lot of live events, Storify is actually a great tool to use because you can actually curate all of the content from a live event, curate it, and then share it out on different social media channels. And in Twitter especially, it kind of has like a photo slideshow-esque quality to it, which is really cool. It feels like it's an ad product, but it's not. It's kind of awesome. So in terms of companies that use kind of their content to create great experiences, one that I wanted to highlight is Benefit Cosmetics. So they have a campaign called Beauty Boost, and they launched it in January when women especially make New Year's resolutions that maybe aren't so positive. So maybe they want to lose weight, quit smoking, get more fit. And instead of focusing on the negative things, they wanted women to focus on positive things about themselves. So they launched this campaign where if you tweet with hashtag #BeautyBoost, you get one of these really hilarious pickup lines like, what is it, your lashes are longer than a supermodel's legs, or you're hotter than a curling iron. So it's kind of silly, but their social media mission is, and mantra is, laughter is the best cosmetic, so grin and wear it. So if you think about that, and these are just simple things where women can tweet them when they need a little pick-me-up, it makes them smile, it creates a great experience for them, and it's ultimately very shareable. So when you have the image versus just putting that in a tweet, you're probably more apt to share that and maybe share it across multiple social media channels. The second one I wanted to share, this one's a bit kooky. So IKEA in Singapore, they launched a campaign called the Shelf Help Guru, and it was this character was designated to help you improve your private life, so in your bathroom and your bedroom. So they ran this contest on their Facebook page where they asked readers to submit things that they needed help with improving either in their bedrooms or their bathrooms, and the Shelf Help Guru might award them a $50 gift card to IKEA. So, I'm sure everyone here has probably hosted a simple contest on their Facebook page. They're very simple, they're very easy to do. You just leave a comment as the entry. But they actually took it a step further, and they responded with these really hilarious memes. So if it's quite a long post behind me, and it's a bit inappropriate, so I won't read it all, but someone basically responded with a bit too much detail, a little bit TMI, too much information, and they actually responded back with, sometimes it's best to keep it all in, and he's showing a picture of a storage ottoman. So they didn't actually answer the user's questions for bedroom or bathroom improvement tips. They just took really wacky memes that kind of played on the products that they sell, and for everyone that submitted an entry to the contest, they got a response like that. And some of the other ones are like, if you can't decide, sleep on it, or the other one is always draw the curtain on private matters. So it was quite funny, and I think quite engaging, and really shows that sometimes when you have contests, people don't know, A, if the brand saw their answer, and B, if they even cared. So I think this was a nice way to drive above and beyond engagement, as well as a better contest experience. And then, so you might be asking, it's great when you do positive stuff, but what happens when you get a more negative tweet or something that's maybe not super positive to your brand? I absolutely love this example. So somebody tweeted smart car, saw a bird, had crapped on a smart car, totaled it, and we living in Europe know that smart cars are pretty prevalent, they're small, but I think this happened in the United States, and it might be a bit more of a joke because they haven't seen cars ever that small in the United States. They have their big, massive SUVs. So smart car, they get a lot of tweets like this that are, maybe a bit making fun of them or a bit more humorous. And instead of ignoring it, they actually chose to respond. And they responded with, couldn't have been one bird. Sounds actually more like 4.5 million. Seriously, we did the math. And they actually put together an infographic to document how much pigeon, turkey, and emu craps it would actually take to total a smart car. So if you can't read that, that's 4.5 million pigeon craps. That's 360,000 turkey craps, and that's 45,000 emu craps. So that's a lot of crap, basically. And what was really brilliant about this one is you can also use content to create a great experience with someone who maybe doesn't think as positively about your brand. The person who posted this tweet responded like, best response ever, outsmarted by smart car. And he actually became a really big advocate for the brand after this example. And he was a blogger, posted this on his blog, and it totally took off. It got 22 million impressions, was covered around the world, and actually inspired SmartCar to completely change their social media story and really focus on taking on more haters or less positive or comments where there's an education opportunity about their vehicles. And obviously, it's probably not realistic that all of our companies would kind of have this, not every response that we're going to put out there is going to go this viral. But the reality is, with social media today, it could. So you really have to be prepared and be mindful for everything that you're doing like this, because if it takes off, it could be, the next biggest thing for kind of your program. And then the last example, I'm just wrapping up, is to co-create content with your brand advocates. So when you think about ways to create remarkable customer experiences with content, one of the best ways to do that is to bring your customers in and have them be part of the campaign that you're doing. So the example I have on screen is from Sennheiser. You can critique my German if you want. It's a German headphones company, and they actually were launching a new headphone called the Urbanite, and they did a series of videos on YouTube where this character was like massaging the ear, like cleaning the ear, like dusting the ear, and it was a bit like sexual and a bit like out there, I would say, in terms of the spectrum of content, but they really wanted to make the point that they love your ears more than anybody else does because their headphones are more comfortable and they have good sound quality, so they use these very kind of out there videos to do that. But what I loved is they didn't just stop there. They decided, how can we pull this message in and make it more applicable to our fan base? So they ran an ear selfie contest. So they asked people to take selfies of their ears, which I don't know about you, but like brands ask for a lot of weird things these days, but I haven't ever seen anyone ask for a picture of my ear before. So I thought that was pretty cool and pretty different. And I think what was brilliant about it is it was so tied to their mission statement of our headphones love your ears more than anybody else. And then they offered a chance to win headphones. So you really, in these cases, you take a bit of a leap asking for an ear selfie, but I think they were pretty confident that their users would participate, and they were right. So the last one I wanted to share is one that we did at Sprinklr. It was recently just World Emoji Day. Yes, that is a thing. And for a lot of brands maybe that are more B2B or want to drive more employee advocacy, a great way to get your employees involved is to ask them to help you with co-creating content. So we did this internally at Sprinklr. We asked employees to pose as their favorite emojis. And we got all of these great submissions that we were then able to share on our different social media channels to celebrate World Emoji Day. So just a simple example, but we find, especially because we have a whole advocacy division within Sprinklr, and we find that companies that pose more challenges and ask for feedback or ask for employees to kind of be part of that content creation process get way more content than companies that do not. So with that said, that concludes my talk. So if you take two things away from my talk today is that you really need to put your customers' kind of interests, insights, and experience kind of at the core of everything they do. And remember, when you're putting together content, don't create content for content's sake. Really focus on how content can do more and create an amazing experience for your customers. Thank you.